Part 34. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 331. However, when Xiao Xian listened carefully, the voice disappeared again. It seems like the voice was left by the owner of the cave, but I picked it up. After Xiao Xian opened the wooden box, he looked at the skeleton in front of him and then at the corpses around him. Maybe he didn't wait for the person he wanted, or maybe that person was also one of these corpses. There is a plaque in the wooden box with a few lines of small words written on it. Swap the concept, use visual errors to deceive time, thereby secretly changing the concept of time. The time within 100 miles of the hourglass is converted into 1,000-year day. Seeing this, Xiao Xian also knew why the monster had changed like this. The strange thing about collecting was found out. Then how to explain the degree of corruption in the cave? Even if time can change concepts, it definitely cannot change the rules of the world. It seems that there is more than just this strange place in front of you. There must be other mechanisms inside that can lead to other places. As Xiao Xian spoke, he stretched his hand towards the skeleton. Since the owner of the cave can think of placing the most powerful treasure in a place that is most easily overlooked, then the mechanism to open the cave must also be in him. Sure enough, after searching the other person's body, it was found that his spine was actually loose. With a gentle pull of his hand, the spine fell off. Then it turned into the size of a key and fell quietly into the palm of my hand. Without the support of the spine, the skeleton would fall apart. On the futon under him, there was a small light. Crouching down and taking a closer look, it was the entrance of the cave. Sure enough, it is hidden here. Xiao Xian put the key on it, and a loud noise came from the wall directly in front. A warm breath came from inside, and as soon as Xiao Xian stepped in, the wall closed instantly. He glanced lightly at the closed stone door behind him, and then walked inside. Here and the outside world are completely different worlds, with birds singing, flowers fragrant, and luxuriant branches and leaves. The rich spiritual energy made Xiao Xian feel as if he was in the wilderness. This comfortable scene without any intrigue touched a certain place in his heart. The further inside, the more spiritual energy becomes abundant. Even if Xiao Xian is inside, he can feel the changes in his body. Crossing a river, there is a cave inside. All living utensils are placed in the cave, and the dishes on the table exude an alluring fragrance. The bed was messy, like traces of recent warmth. He turned around and walked towards the pond behind the cave, only to find that there was a different cave here. The shape is the size of a pond, but it is divided into two heavens of ice and fire. One side is bitingly cold, the other side is extremely hot. Xiao Xian looked carefully and found that the corresponding position here happened to be the heaven and earth above. The cold side faces the outside world. The hot side corresponds to the outside world, and the junction in the middle is where the skeleton sits. This can also explain all the weird things in the cave. There was a slight ripple at the junction, as if someone had been there. Xiao Xian didn't think too much. At this moment, his eyes were attracted by the crops growing around the pond. This is the so-called polar eye of ice and fire. I didn't expect that after countless galactic years, it can still be maintained so well. It seems that the owner of this cave has used the hourglass's concept of time shifting to maintain this place. This is it. Xiao Xian looked at a black herb. The herb was completely black, but the flowers were dazzlingly white, just like the two extremes of black and white. I didn't expect that this bipolar eye of ice and fire would have such miraculous effects. Even such highly poisonous herbs can nourish it into fire. The hint of exclamation revealed in Xiao Xian's words seemed particularly abrupt in this place. Herbs like this were widely available in ancient times, but after several wars, the spiritual energy became thinner. Around the two-pole poisonous grass, various highly poisonous herbs grow. At this moment, Yeshu had reached the end of his strength and all the magical weapons on his body had been used up. When they saw clearly who the two sides were fighting, they all showed shocked expressions. But soon, Xiaoxian noticed something was wrong. At the junction of the glacier continent and the heavens and worlds, two forces are fighting in the sky. So Xiaoxian put the ice and fire eyes into his treasure bag and turned around to leave. As the mind moved, the flame power of Samadhi true fire instantly swallowed up the entire cave. Just in case, he pointed out a finger, and a wisp of the flame power of Samadhi true fire appeared on his finger. Yeshu's father is a half-step golden immortal, isn't he afraid of the other party's revenge? Just when he was about to go deeper, there was a fierce fighting sound from outside. The huge formation attracted countless powerful people to watch. Miss Yeshu. Looking at the highly poisonous herbs at my feet, I simply collected them together. Coupled with the rampant mining by cultivators, the poisonous weeds in both poles have become extinct. Although these will enhance her strength in a short period of time, they will also seriously devour her vitality. How could she fight against the elders of the Chen family? The elders of the Chen family are immortals. Even in the glacier continent, there are only a handful of them. Perhaps it was because of the vision just now that it attracted the attention of many cultivators. Suhai said that I have taken all the herbs here, but the boundary here has already become unusual under the influence of the concept of stealing. As soon as this statement came out, everyone fell silent. But the gap between strength and realm is far from being narrowed by these. In order to delay, she even swallowed all the pills. Without the hourglass, the concept of time had changed, and Xiaoxian had taken away the entire ice and fire polar eye, and the entire cave became dilapidated. Looking at this, Miss Ye's family will be killed by him. It is rumored that Miss Ye is born with immortal roots and can control the 5 elements. She is a genius who cannot be found in the entire glacier continent. If someone who is interested finds even the slightest bit of it, then the whole world will be in chaos. To prevent this from happening, we cannot stay here. Looking at the attitude of the Chen family, most likely they want to dig out Yeshu's immortal roots and give them to Chen Bassian. The elders of the Chen family looked at the exhausted Yeshu and showed a proud smile. The blazing flames engulfed the entire cave. This was the same level of decomposition as the previous corpse. Xiaoxian always felt that something important had been ignored by him. The growth cycle of these herbs is only 1 month. Even if you change the concept, it is impossible to change its growth pattern. The eyes looking at Yeshu were full of regret, as the spiritual path of a legendary genius would stop here. The emergence of any herb can make the whole world boil. We'll study it carefully when we get back. At the same time, it is said that the head of the Ye family has been in seclusion for more than half a month. I am afraid that he is too motivated but not strong enough. Even if he comes out of seclusion, it will be a done deal. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 332. He has long been interested in the fairy root of the girl from the Ye family, but he just didn't have the chance to take it. Now the old man of the Ye family is practicing in seclusion, and Yeshu is going to the glacier continent alone to find the 10,000 years snow lotus. Plus that idiot Chen Bassian was beaten to death a month ago. An excellent spiritual root is needed to reintegrate, otherwise you will only be able to struggle in the quasi-emperor realm for the rest of your life. It was a perfect opportunity for him to use the excuse that Chen Bassian was not qualified enough to integrate the immortal roots. Unable to bear the opportunity brought by the immortal root, he died suddenly. No one in the family would doubt him. As for the old man of the Ye family, by the time he broke through to the golden immortal, the immortal root had already been integrated into his body. Coupled with the improving effect of the elixir, even if he has all kinds of hatred in his heart, he can't do anything to him. Thinking of this, the murderous intent in the eyes of the Chen family grew even stronger. His venomous eyes were staring at Yeshu, and his hoarse voice was as harsh as if his throat had been cut. Yes Shu, I advise you not to resist needlessly. Instead of struggling, it is better to submit obediently and avoid suffering these physical pains. Chen Bassian on the side took a step forward when he heard the words and looked at Yeshu with endless greed in his eyes. The tip of his tongue kept licking his lips, and his body was trembling slightly, as if he was in a state of sperm. Great Elder, don't let her die so quickly. Let me enjoy it during this time. As he spoke, he kept rubbing his hands together. If there wasn't a trace of reason left in his body, he would probably have fired live ammunition on the spot. Yeshu sneered again and again, with a trace of blood that had not yet dried up at the corner of his mouth. There was no trace of blood on the originally fair face at this moment. The body covered in blood seemed to be blown away by the wind at any time. Bah! If you want my girl's immortal roots, just dream. Even if I die today, I will destroy the immortal roots. Yeshu's words completely angered the Chen family elder, and he just grabbed it out of thin air. Yeshu's thin body was suspended in the air, and his cunning eyes were ready to come out. The pale face turned red from suffocation at this moment. Do you really think that I am here to discuss with you? I had already looked for a way to get the immortal roots before I came here. Even if you don't agree, I still have to find a way to make you obediently give it up voluntarily. At this time, Yeshu was already taking in a lot of air and leaving little air. Upon seeing this, the elder Chen released her again, and then asked the attendants behind him to detain her. As the group was preparing to return, Chen Bassian saw Xiao Xian in front of them. He also informed the Chen family elders of everything that happened on the day of the auction. When the other party heard that Xiao Xian had a Nuwo heaven-mending stone in his hand, his mind became active again. If I can refine the Nuwo stone into a weapon, even if my family discovers what I have done, they will not offend me. With the blessing of both, no one dares to tell me even if I walk sideways on the glacier continent. Xiao Xian originally didn't want to get involved in their intrigues. Firstly, he was not the Holy Mother. Secondly, he didn't have that much free time to save people. However, he was still blocked by the other party, looking at Chen Bassian who was showing off his power in front of him. Four words came to Xiao Xian's mind: dogs fight against human power. He even blurted it out without thinking. This sentence completely touched Chen Bassian's pain point. I saw him baring his teeth and claws and shouting at Xiao Xian, "You are so impudent that you dare to speak arrogant words in front of me. You must be impatient." Just when everyone thought he was going to take action, the other party ran up behind Elder Chen. Pointing at him, he said softly, "Elder Chen, I can't beat this guy. Come on, so you don't have to deal with the mess for me later." As soon as the statement came out, everyone didn't know whether to say that he was self-aware or that he knew how to retreat in the face of difficulties. Any man with blood would choose to fight. Even the elders of the Chen family couldn't help but yell, "You worthless thing! Get out!" Then he looked in the direction of Xiao Xian, and a ray of spiritual power to detect the soul instantly blessed him. After feeling that there was no trace of spiritual power in the other party, Mr. Chen stopped pretending. "Boy, hand over the magic weapon you have, and I will consider sparing you." Xiao Xian was unmoved when he heard this, and did not even take this person in his eyes. A celestial immortal can't stand up to him yet. If he comes in the middle stage of celestial immortality, he might be afraid. What if I say no? The elders of the Chen family were inexplicably chilled by Xiao Xian's eyes. If this child is allowed to grow up, he will definitely destroy the world. He must be killed before he grows up. He smiled coldly, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Then you have no choice but to end your training career early. As soon as these words came out, the elders of the Chen family no longer hesitated, and instantly burst out with the power of a strong man in the early stage of immortality to kill Xiao Xian. A terrifying fist power cut through the sky and swept over the sky. The boundless power of law swallows the eternal sky and sweeps across the boundless horizon. This blow made countless people daunted and terrified. With such a move, even a mid-stage immortal can't take it. A mere mortal will definitely die. However, Xiao Xian smiled calmly when faced with such a move. Don't overestimate your capabilities. Then he pointed a finger, and a sword light pierced the sky, sweeping in with unstoppable power. The terrifying sword intent rushed into the sky, destroying the starry sky and the earth. Countless galaxies exploded under the power of this sword, the earth trembled, and the stars changed. This scene shocked everyone. With a single strike of the sword, Elder Chen's killing move was dismantled. Everyone was shocked when they saw this scene. The man in front of me without any spiritual power turned out to be a high-level earth immortal cultivator. Even the elders of the Chen family were shocked. They didn't expect this person to have such strength. It's no wonder that Chen Bassian broke 2 ribs in his hands. I dare you to show mercy. Use your best, this strength is not enough to defeat me. Xiao Xian's domineering words made Mr. Chen feel completely embarrassed. A mere earthly immortal dares to utter arrogant words in front of me. You are simply seeking death. Then he pointed towards the sky, and a long knife condensed on the sky. Countless spiritual energies gathered here instantly. A huge tornado swept through everything in the world. At this moment, the situation in the world changes color, and the stars change. The terrifying power of the sword came towards Xiao Xian with unstoppable killing intent. This move frightened everyone. Everyone shook their heads after seeing this. Such a terrifying move, even if Xiao Xian is an immortal, there is no way he can resist it. Seeing this, Mr. Chen's face showed an inevitable smile. After today, he will become the strongest being in the entire glacier continent. However, just when he thought Xiao Xian was certain to die, an extreme sword light pierced the sky and broke through the seal. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 333. The terrifying sword power swept across the boundless sky, making people frightened. The next moment, the momentum was like breaking a bamboo, the force was overwhelming, and the killing move of the Elder Chen was easily defeated. The Elder Chen's face was stern, holding a knife in both hands, and the wind was blowing under his feet. The boundless spiritual energy instantly gathered on the gold-backed ball knife in his hand. The dazzling golden light is like the dawn of the sun, making people dizzy. Golden-winged ghost dance, a roar was heard. There was a deafening thunder in the sky, the heaven and earth collapsed, and everything was shattered. Facing such a terrifying move, Xiao Xian's face remained as usual, his expression indifferent. The posture of looking down at the world is extremely majestic. The waning moon sword, split the sea. Break. The next moment, the waning moon sword turned into a long golden dragon and roared upward into the sky. The mountains and rivers are swallowed up, the wind and clouds are changing, and the rare phenomenon of dragons sucking water appears in the sky. The surrounding spiritual energy condenses towards the sky at a speed visible to the naked eye. A sword falls, and the people are afraid. The golden dragon descended instantly, defeating the killing move of the Elder Chen. The remaining power of the sword light was even more powerful, heading towards the chest of the Chen family elder. No, Elder Chen looked horrified and looked at the scene in front of him in horror. Obviously, he didn't expect Xiao Xian to have such terrifying strength. Even if he broke the golden bell talisman he was carrying in time, it would be of no use as a life-saving defense cover. Under such a terrifying blow from Xiao Xian, even a strong person in the middle stage of the heavenly immortal realm would be in awe when he saw it. A huge mushroom cloud exploded in the sky, shocking countless people. The next moment, in the horrified eyes of countless people, The Chen family elder's body shot out of the air and hit the snowy mountain thousands of meters behind him. It didn't stop until it had slid tens of thousands of miles. Under the influence of powerful impact, an unprecedented avalanche storm occurred. Even the elders of the Chen family in the heavenly realm were hurt a second time under the heavy pressure of this avalanche. When Mr. Chen crawled out of the avalanche in embarrassment, Xiao Xian's sacred and inviolable figure had already appeared in front of him. Looking at the terrifying figure in front of him, the elders of the Chen family had the idea of fear for the first time. I saw him quickly getting up from the ground and looking at Xiao Xian with regret on his face. His eyes were filled with endless fear and timidity. "Spare your life! Spare your life! I was blind and I rushed into you. Please spare my life." At this moment, the Chen family elder was like a bereaved dog, kneeling at Xiao Xian's feet, kowtow and begging for mercy. However, Xiao Xian looked at him indifferently, and the waning moon sword in his hand trembled faintly. Seeing that Xiao Xian had no intention of letting him go, the Chen family elder suddenly looked ferocious. She glared at him with a grin on her face. "How presumptuous! I am the elder of Qing Xianzong. If you kill me today, Qing Xianzong will definitely not let you go. If you have any sense, let me go, otherwise there will be only death." The words of the Chen family elders made the hearts of the onlookers tremble, and their brains suddenly woke up. Xianzong of the Qing dynasty was one of the top sects in the glacier continent, and even a big family like the Ye family had to give way to it. In addition, Xianzong of the Qing dynasty had a Xianxian in the middle stage, which made countless people awed. His sect is extremely powerful and has abundant resources, making him an extremely rare alchemist in the glacier continent. In Xianzong of the Qing dynasty, there were 3 statues, and they were all of the 5th rank or above. Seeing that Xiao Xian didn't say a word, the Chen family knew that their threat had worked. Then he said again, "If you can let me leave, I will not only allow you to become a disciple of Xianxian, but also the alchemist in the sect will also teach you how to refine elixirs and train you to become an outstanding alchemist." This temptation made everyone present excited. It is already a dream to be able to become a disciple of Xianxian, let alone become an alchemist. Then, in full view of everyone, they looted all the treasures from their bodies. I am the son of the leader of the Qing Xian sect, and I am the future leader. As long as you can let us go. It is better to go to the Ye family. Although my Ye family is not as powerful as Xianzong of the Qing dynasty, it is still no problem to protect one person. Xiao Xian glanced at her lightly and was about to refuse when he heard the other party's words continue to come. "Young master, don't refuse in a hurry. Maybe Xianzong of the Qing dynasty is not something to be afraid of for you, but there is something in the Ye family that may interest you." The leader of Xianzong of the Qing dynasty was famous for his iron-blooded tactics, so why did he give birth to such a useless son? But look at the way the other person is dressed and the majesty exuding from his body. His voice trembled, and his face revealed a deep feeling of fear. "The man in front of me came here for the secret place in 2 months' time." Yeshu looked slightly surprised. No matter how many people wanted her reward, she couldn't get it. "These people are my enemies to begin with. Saving you is just a matter of convenience. Just say thank you." As soon as this statement came out, countless people fell silent. Yeshu glanced at the location of the core of Glacier Continent, then she walked towards Xiao Xian. There is no such thing as a person who has no desires or pursuits in this world. Chen Bassian was shivering on the side, with orange water stains flowing under his feet. Just when everyone thought they would accept it without hesitation, he took action. But they were more concerned about Xiao Xian's choice. After all, no one would be willing to give up such an opportunity. Young master must have just returned from the Northern Territory. Therefore, everyone lamented that Xiao Xian was so lucky that he encountered such a good opportunity. After a moment of silence, Xiao Xian slowly spoke. Then turned and left. In the future, Not to mention the resources within the sect are at your disposal, even beauties will be provided to you on time, and my father will even treat you as a guest. Invited him, today you killed the senior elders of Qing Xianzong and the son of the sect leader. Qing Xianzong Dingran will not let you go. Then the waning moon sword in his hand rose into the air, and their heads fell to the ground in front of the shocked eyes of countless people. Explain. As soon as he said this, Xiao Xian's cold eyes fell on the girl in front of him. Xiao Xian looked at her without emotion when he heard this, and a cold voice came slowly. Yeshu was so frightened by Xiao Xian's eyes that his legs weakened, but he was also sure of his suspicion. After doing all this, Xiao Xian expressionlessly cut away the restraints on Yeshu's body with the sword. Yeshu covered the relatively large wound on his body, stood up staggeringly and thanked Xiao Xian. She was 15 or 16 years old, but there was a hint of perseverance in her eyes, which was in sharp contrast to her frail appearance and unable to take care of herself. This person was able to refuse without hesitation, either because he had other plans or because he already had everything. Thank you so much, Master, for saving me. I can't repay you for saving my life. I will definitely be rewarded heavily in the future. Maybe it's the latter, as to why it's hidden. Quack, his impatience was revealed unabashedly. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 334. Xiao Xian thought in his mind that the land of the Northern Territory might be the name of that place. Most of the glacier continent is covered with ice and snow, and the northern region is extremely cold. It was the Golden Immortal who came here. He also needs a fire control skill to ensure that he will not be swallowed up by the severe cold, but the young master cannot be affected by the severe cold in the Northern Territory. Staying here for more than a full month proves that the master's strength is not as ordinary as what we have seen. This is one of the reasons. When Xiao Xian heard Yeshu's words, a hint of surprise flashed through his pupils. He could only have a cup of tea in the cave, but a month had already passed. This concept of secret exchange is really shocking. How did that person realize it? Once this idea appeared, it lingered in Xiao Xian's mind. Yeshu naturally noticed the flash of surprise in Xiao Xian's eyes, but the other person's eyes were far away, obviously not because of his few words. Perhaps it was because he found some kind of adventure in the Northern Territory, and that adventure was related to time. But she won't say this idea out loud. Once she says it out, the person in front of her will definitely kill her. Second, when Yeshu said this, he coughed twice, and when Xiao Xian came back to his senses, he said again. The young master stayed in the Northern Territory for a month, perhaps to find the secret realm of the Northern Territory. It is said that the secret realm of the Northern Territory contains magic weapons that can travel through different worlds. Therefore, countless powerful people came from all directions, but if you want to enter the Northern Territory secret realm, you also need an identity, and this identity must be recognized by the family that came out of the Northern Territory secret realm. As soon as these words came out, even Xiao Xian was a little surprised. The family came out of the secret realm. The glacier continent was originally just a huge Iceland. There was a huge energy fluctuation 2 galaxies ago. As a result, the secret realm of the Northern Territory appeared. After that, aurora fell from the sky, and signs of human beings appeared in the secret realm. After thousands of years of evolution, the number of humans in the secret realm reached 100. It was this time that the secret realm, which had been silent for tens of thousands of years, fluctuated again. When Xiao Xian heard this, an idea flashed in his mind. The appearance of these people might also be the arrangement of that world. Yeshu glanced at Xiao Xian, and then continued, all humans in the secret realm have also moved out at this time. And in the subsequent fluctuations, it was discovered that only people who came out of the secret realm, or were recognized by them, could be allowed to enter the secret realm. At this point, Yeshu stopped talking. She believed that Xiao Xian had already guessed it with his intelligence. At this moment, Xiao Xian pointed a finger at her forehead. A ray of very abundant spiritual power instantly sank into her body. In one breath, Yeshu felt the fatigue on his body disappear. She knew that this was Xiao Xian's disguised agreement, and a sweet smile appeared on her face. This war really consumed a lot of her energy. The current support depends entirely on tenacious willpower. After Xiao Xian's spiritual power entered her body, her condition improved. However, the damage caused by this fight will still require 2 or 3 months of repairs to be alleviated. After all, the side effects of these elixirs are that they will erode the muscles and veins in the body. Even a 6th grade elixir master cannot refine an elixir without a trace of impurities. A trace of appreciation flashed in Xiao Xian's eyes, and he obviously didn't expect that this young lady from the Ye family actually had a strong insight. If the guess is correct, this brother and sister might even guess that he found the concept and secretly exchanged it. But I haven't guessed what kind of magic weapon it is. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian looked at Yeshuzi meaningfully, half smiling but not smiling. I didn't expect that Miss Ye would be so insightful and observant at such a young age. It's really rare. The pun made Yeshu's pale face look even more bloodless. By the time Yejio received the news and came to look for Yeshu, the two of them had already arrived at the gate of Ye's house. Seeing this, everyone in the Ye family looked at the scene in front of them with different expressions. Then he hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Miss, it's great that you are okay." The speaker is Ye Tian, the steward of the Ye family and a confidant of Ye Hao, the second elder of the Ye family. Yeshu avoided the other party's touch without leaving any trace, and looked at Xiao Xian with an aggrieved look. "Steward Ye, I thought you were not going to care about me after receiving the news. This person looks exactly like the one who was so eloquent in Glacier Continent just now." Ye Tian's body trembled when he heard this, and his heart skipped a beat. "Miss, you are trying to harm this old slave." The old slave immediately reported the news to the master of the family, and even rushed to find you with his men and horses. "If Dad hadn't been in seclusion, you would have rescued me faster. But fortunately he is here, otherwise I wouldn't be able to wait." Before Ye Tianzhang could finish everything, Yeshu interrupted him and then fainted in Xiao Xian's arms while everyone was at a loss. However, he was sneering in his heart. He knew clearly that his father was in seclusion to break through to the Golden Fairy realm and could not bear any interference from the outside world. Otherwise, it is a small thing to fail to break through, but it is a big thing to worry about your life. But he still told his father about it. "You really wish that we, father and daughter, would die early so that we could make room for you." When everyone saw this, they looked at each other in confusion, and finally Ye Tian led Xiao Xian in. "This young hero, please wait for a while in the side hall. The patriarch is currently practicing in seclusion, and the second elder is in charge of family affairs." Neither the words nor the meaning behind the words regarded Xiao Xian as his savior. On the contrary, there was a hint of disgust in his expression. Xiao Xian drank the tea meaningfully, with a playful look on his face. It seems that the Ye family is also undercurrent. If it weren't for Yeshu's father's strong cultivation, Yeshu's immortal root might have been snatched away the day he was born. Just as he was deep in thought, Yeshu's figure appeared in front of him. "I can't tell you that not only are you eloquent, but your acting skills are also top-notch," Xiao Xian said playfully. Yeshu didn't seem to understand, and sat beside him minding his own business. She didn't speak, and Xiao Xian didn't bother to ask. After all, he came to the Ye family to get a so-called identity. The Ye family's intrigues have nothing to do with him. After a moment of silence, Yeshu finally said, "I want you to take me to Yukliv." At the same time, after Ye Tian left the side hall, he went directly to Ye Hao's mansion. At this moment, the mansion was full of singing and dancing, fine wine and delicious food, and it was a prosperous and gorgeous scene. Seeing this, Ye Tian showed some hesitation on his face, then lowered his head and walked towards the middle-aged man at the top. Seeing Ye Tian coming, he looked at him coldly. How did things go? Ye Tian was too frightened to raise his head, and his words became stuttering. Hui, to the second elder, Yeshu, she is back. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 335. What? Ye Hao jumped up immediately after hearing this. The beautiful woman was so frightened that her face turned pale, and then she left in a panic and left in a hurry. Shouldn't he die in Chen Qingtian's hands? How could he come back alive? Ye Hao roared angrily. As early as half a year ago, he and Chen Qingtian planned today's drama. The purpose is to make Ye Jun go crazy when he breaks through, causing his body to explode and die. By then, the two most threatening people in the Ye family will be dead, and he will have the final say in the Ye family. In the end, reality told him that Yeshu was still alive. Trash, you can't even handle this, so what use are you? Ye Hao kicked Ye Tian, who rolled a few times on the ground and got up with disheveled hair. Second elder, Chen Yejin actually showed up halfway and caught us off guard. Ye Tian ignored the pain in his chest and hurriedly knelt on the ground. Then he told Ye Hao everything he had learned. After learning what happened, Ye Hao was furious, and his body erupted with the terrifying power belonging to Ling County. Seeing this, Ye Tian buried his body even lower, wishing he could disappear in front of Ye Hao at this moment. The kick just now would definitely break his ribs, and the kick from Ling Xian didn't even inject a trace of spiritual power. It's not something ordinary people can bear, let alone one who is in a rage. What a good Xiaoxian, he dares to ruin my good deeds. I'm so impatient. There seemed to be thousands of fireworks in Ye Hao's chest with nowhere to vent, and terrifying killing intent erupted in his eyes. Suddenly he seemed to remember something, turned around and asked, "Have you notified Ye Jun?" Ye Tian shook his head. No, Yeshu also fainted, and his injuries were caused by excessive blood loss, which caused the spiritual energy to collapse and will not recover in a short time. Hearing this, Ye Hao showed a satisfied smile, and then waved his hand, "Find an excuse to get that Xiaoxian out of the house." Ye Tian heard this and hurriedly rolled out of here. The meaning of Ye Hao's words was obvious. Not only did he want Xiaoxian not to be paid, but he also wanted him to admit that he had spent half his life here. But Ye Tian never expected that when he went to find Xiaoxian again, Ye Jun would actually appear here. This scene made Ye Tian, who was still in a state of surprise, as if he had seen a ghost in the daytime. In addition, he was still injured, and he rolled his eyes and fell to the ground unconscious. But taking a closer look, there is no trace of Ye Jun in the side hall. It is clearly an evergreen tree with Ye Jun's clothes hanging on it. At this moment, Ye Shuhan and Xiaoxian were rushing to Weivue Cliff to look for Ye Jun. A quarter of an hour ago, Xiaoxian didn't want to meddle in other people's business. After all, he was not the Holy Mother. However, Yeshu's words made him change his mind. I know the specific location of the time and space totem. As long as you help me find my father, I will hand over the time and space totem to you after the secret realm of the Northern Territory is opened. Yeshu struggled in his heart for a long time, and finally decided to use the space-time totem in exchange for him. But she was also very worried in her heart. What if that dream was false? Will Xiaoxian really kill her? Then I thought about it, as long as they arrived in time. Telling her father that she is fine can prevent the tragedy from happening. Then, even if Xiaoxian knows that it is to deceive him, he can't do anything to her. Although Xiaoxian had doubts about the authenticity, in order to return to that world, his thoughts had been clouded by something. When the two arrived at Weivue Cliff, waves of terrifying breakthrough momentum were coming from the cave. It was obvious that they were a step late. Yeshu's expression changed drastically and he was ready to go without caring about so much. However, he was stopped by Xiaoxian. At this moment, Yeshu struggled to break free regardless of the danger to his life. "It doesn't matter if you are seeking death, don't let me waste my time." Xiaoxian's emotionless voice brought her back to some sense. Then he knelt on the ground, crying and begging, "You must have a way, I beg you, please, please save my father." However, Xiaoxian's figure immediately retreated dozens of meters away, giving her no chance to get closer. There was a faint anger exuding from his body, and he was obviously disgusted with what the other party had done. "As long as you save my father, I am willing to work hard for you, and even volunteer my immortal roots. I will also ask my father to accept you as a close disciple." Yeshu couldn't think about much at the moment. The only thought in her mind was to save her father. Even if she knew that Xiaoxian didn't care about these things at all. However, Xiaoxian lifted her up indifferently, "My patience is limited, don't force me to kill you. Even without the help of the Ye family, I can find a way on my own." Xiaoxian has no patience with anyone except the younger generations of the family. Not to mention the shackles encountered in the breakthrough of cultivation. Even if they die, they can be recovered from the hands of the King of Hell, let alone make them kneel down and beg for mercy. But he and Yeshu were just two-way friends, and both parties were taking advantage of their relationship for the sake of a cooperative partner, which was not worth it. But in the end, Xiaoxian still let out a long sigh. It was the scene on Yeshu that really touched his heart. That determined and unwilling look was exactly the same as Wang Shu's. Then he waved his hand, and a force of chaos instantly penetrated the mountain and surrounded Yejun. The spiritual power that was originally raging in his body was stabilized at this moment. And under the guidance of the power of chaos, it gradually returned to its original position. A moment later, Yejun broke through again, and a terrifying aura fell from the sky. Dark clouds shrouded the sky, thunder roared, and countless thunder and lightning struck down from the sky. When Yeshu saw this, he felt relieved. Sitting on the ground, he looked helplessly at the catastrophe above the sky. This is the catastrophe caused by a successful breakthrough. As long as you survive the 3-9 thunder tribulations, you can become a golden immortal. There is only one realm away from Deluo Jinxian. I'm sorry, I was the same just now. Yeshu looked at Xiaoxian apologetically. But he saw that the other party had disappeared before his eyes, and his figure appeared high in the sky. Obviously he doesn't want to have any contact with himself. But the moment Xiaoxian took action, she found that the other person was looking at another person through her. It was precisely because of this that his father was able to escape this disaster. Above the sky, Xiaoxian looked at the girl slumped on the ground with cold eyes, and huge waves surged in his heart. I thought that after countless lives and deaths, I had become indifferent to the love entanglements in the world. But he found that he couldn't escape Wang Shu's look in the secret realm. Even a look similar to hers could make him break his principles. After a tremor in the sky, it returned to calm again. The stone door of Weavue Cliff also slowly opened, and an old man walked out. He is clearly in his prime, yet he reveals a hint of desolation. "Dad," a crisp voice came from afar. Those cloudy eyes that couldn't see any hope suddenly lit up at this moment. "Sure. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors." Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 336. The moment Yejun saw Yeshu running towards him, his body covered in blood. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with tears, wondering what kind of life and death moment his daughter had experienced. Only then would he appear in front of him safe and sound. When he just broke through, he received a secret message from Yetian, knowing that all this was their conspiracy. But he still couldn't escape his inner demons, and when he finally broke through, he went crazy. If it hadn't been for the gentle power that just appeared out of thin air. I'm afraid he is already a cold corpse at this moment. Yeshu hugged Yejun tightly, tears all over her face. Dad, I'm not dead, so you don't want to die either. At this moment, she was a little incoherent, but Yejun nodded heavily. Sure, how did you escape from that old man Chen Qingtian? My father will avenge you now. As he spoke, a golden immortal's terrifying aura instantly erupted, as if it was about to destroy the world. Yeshu told Yejun all the ins and outs of the incident, and told him everything about how he went crazy and was resolved by Xiaoxian. Yejun was shocked when he heard this. There is such a terrifying son-in-law in this world. Where is that young man now? As a father, I must thank him. After Yejun helped Yeshu recover from his injuries, he asked about Xiaoxian's whereabouts. Yeshu glanced at the sky and saw that Xiaoxian's figure had disappeared, feeling extremely disappointed. He left already. Not even the space-time totem. At this moment, Yeshu's heart felt like it was suddenly clenched tightly, making her breathless. Don't worry. Since he is here to find something, there is still a chance to meet him. I, Yejun, will keep this kindness in my heart. Yejun touched her head lovingly. Then he looked up at the sky, with a hint of solemnity flashing through his eyes, completely different from his loving father. What we have to do now is to deal with the family's troubles. The side hall of the Ye family. Xiaoxian was enjoying the tea calmly, as if he didn't notice the anger emanating from Ye Hao. My family just lost a heaven and earth spiritual treasure, and the chief steward of the family was seriously injured by a gangster. Although you are Yeshu's savior. But I also have to follow the rules. If I let the bad guys hide the treasures of heaven and earth in my home, it will be a loss to the family. Yehopi looked at Xiaoxian with a smile. If he didn't need a reasonable reason, he would have killed this arrogant guy right now. Xiaoxian raised his eyes and looked at him indifferently. What does Elder Ye mean, that I stole this treasure? Ye Hao didn't expect Xiaoxian to break the point so directly, and he was speechless for a moment. Then he laughed bitterly. Young master, what you said is wrong. This elder is only acting in accordance with the clan rules, and is not targeting you alone. Just as he was about to continue speaking, Xiaoxian suddenly stood up and took out a jade bottle on the table. I wonder if this is it? Ye Hao's eyes widened when he saw it. It's actually a heaven-level jade bottle. The nourishing liquid inside can not only nourish the soul, but can even help the dying person breathe. It doesn't look like this. Xiaoxian took the jade bottle back, and then took out a spiritual grass. This? It doesn't look like that either. Ye Hao's eyes almost fell out when he saw this spiritual grass. What yates? After taking it, cultivators can quickly break through 2 levels of minor realms. If they refine the elixir, they can get twice the result with half the effort. Purple spiritual pill. It's still an 8th grade pill. It's a hard to find elixir that can strengthen vitality and nourish qi. You can't find even one in the entire glacier continent. Riang magic oil can keep people awake for a quarter of an hour in a psychedelic secret realm without being devoured by monsters. Seeing this, Ye Hao couldn't sit still anymore. This is a walking treasure trove, compared to these treasures of his. What he made up out of thin air is bullshit. Unless the great Luo Jingxian appears, there will only be a few of them in the entire world. Seeing Yejun resurrected from the dead, he almost died. But now they are no longer from the same world. If they want to kill Yejun, they can't find one in the entire glacier continent. His words were full of disappointment. What should I do? I have all high-level magic weapons and elixirs here, not the low-level ones you mentioned. If I had known better, I would have picked up 2 of them and put them on my body. Yejun looked at him coldly, and then said calmly, thanks to you. If you hadn't allowed me to retreat now, I wouldn't have had the adventure I had today. Congratulations to my brother for breaking through to the Golden Immortal. But in his heart, he was very curious about Yejun's adventure, so he asked, I wonder what great opportunity has happened to my brother. As soon as these words came out, Yehao's heart was ignited with a blazing fire, and he wanted to cut Yejun into pieces with 1,000 knives. No, not even a should. Yehao. This must be my little girl's savior, Yejun said, seeing how popular he was, but he didn't reveal any spiritual power. Seeing that his goal had been achieved, Xiao Xian took back all these things with some disappointment. Others didn't know why, but Yejun knew that Xiao Xian could bear it. Now they want to kill the person in front of them with thousands of knives, but they can't find any reason. Then he quickly reacted and congratulated Yejun continuously. Even though he was used to seeing these strange phenomena, he couldn't stand it at this moment. When Yehao heard this, he knew that Yejun already knew everything, but as long as the other party couldn't produce evidence, he couldn't do anything to him. When Yeshu saw Xiao Xian still in the Ye family, a beautiful smile spread across his lips. If there was a Xianxian from Xianzong of the Qing dynasty who could compete with him before, now Yejun is the overlord walking sideways in the entire glacier continent. Without Xiao Xian's 2 shots, there would be no father and daughter. After taking these things, the farts will be fragrant and can increase the age of the spiritual grass. At that glance, even Xiao Xian was a little dazzled. If he and the father and daughter team up, it will be even more troublesome to deal with. Everyone. If it hadn't been for that scene at Weivue Cliff, he wouldn't have taken the person in front of him seriously. Yejun thanks the young hero for saving his life. Xiao Xian did not reach out to stop him, but accepted it calmly. Just when Yehao was about to kill Xiao Xian, Yejun and Yeshu appeared in the side hall together. Then he bowed down and saluted Xiao Xian. This etiquette was only performed by the head of the Ye family to the ancestors of the Ye family. But this scene gave Yehao an opportunity to make use of the topic. Yejun told him about the breakthrough without hesitation. I gained a new understanding because of this, the Kanglang sword technique. That thing of his is worse than a fart. My cultivation level cannot be compared, and my magic weapon cannot be used. Seeing this, Yehao thought, if he could get all this guy's things in his hands, then his cultivation level would be just around the corner to break through to the mysterious immortal. It's really irritating to see people compare to each other. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 337. Moreover, any of the magic weapons on Xiao Xian's body would be crazy enough to take out. If Yehao and his daughter join forces with him, there will really be no place for him in the Ye family. So, when Yeshu proposed that Xiao Xian live in the family, Yehao was the first to object. Seeing Yeshu's angry expression, Yehao said earnestly, "Sure, you are still young and don't understand the dangers of the world. Although Xiao Xian is your savior, he knows people and faces but doesn't know their hearts. Who knows why he wanted to save you? You must know that you are Yejun's daughter. Maybe he wanted to blackmail you." Seeing that Yeshu was unmoved, he looked at Yejun again with a worried look on his face. "Brother, logically speaking, I shouldn't say this, but someone has to be the bad guy. This Xiao Xian is young. He has extraordinary strength, but after all he is just an outside cultivator. Moreover, he has offended Qing Xianzong. When Qing Xianzong comes looking for trouble, it will not be good. After all, we have had friendship with him for so many years. Yehao knows that Yejun is a person with various emotions, and he also cares about the safety of the entire family. Therefore, he concluded that after hearing these words, the other party would send Xiao Xian out of the house for various reasons. However, Yejun's answer was unexpected. "Since you also feel that it is inappropriate to say this, then don't say it. I forgive you because this is your first time, so I won't hold it against you, and I won't do it again." Ye Jun's voice was extremely majestic and could not be shaken by anyone. Even Ye Hao, who knew his temper well, didn't react for a while. He immediately reacted, with a look of helplessness on his face. "Brother, I am forced to have no choice. Qing Xianzong came out from the secret realm of the Northern Territory with us, and is from the same family. Falling out with them over an outsider is really not worth it." Hearing this, Ye Jun sneered, "I can let them go because of my love, but when Xianzong of the Qing dynasty, attacked my daughter, did he ever think of any love at all?" Ye Shu was Ye Jun's heart. For her, he would risk his life without any regrets. And he took advantage of this and joined forces with Chen Qinglai to poach Ye Shu's immortal roots, killing two birds with one stone. But it was precisely because of this that Ye Jun was completely disappointed with Xianzong of the Qing dynasty. If the plan fails, there is still a trick. Ye Hao took a step forward again, his voice accusing, "Then have you ever thought about the safety of your family? For the sake of an outsider, you put the entire family in dire straits. Is this what you should do as a team leader?" I thought that this accusation would make Ye Jun give up the idea of keeping Xiao Xian. At that time, he can use this reason to sow discord and let Xiao Xian take the initiative to hand over his magical weapons and magic weapons to him. By then, how much can even Ye Jun do to him? However, before he could react, Ye Jun's terrifying aura locked onto him. "Ye Hao, are you questioning my ability? Now that I have broken through the Golden Immortal, no matter how powerful Xianzong of the Qing dynasty is, he is just a Xian immortal. By your words, aren't you trying to make other people's ambitions destroy your own prestige, or are you saying that in your eyes, I can't even defeat a mysterious immortal?" The repeated questioning made Ye Hao break out in sweat. He even saw murderous intent in Ye Jun's eyes. That was the overwhelming murderous intention that really wanted to put him to death. At this moment, he even suspected that Ye Jun had all his evidence. Just when Ye Hao thought he was about to suffocate, the boulder-like pressure on his body disappeared instantly. That feeling of being at home like a fish in water made him feel like he was reborn. The second elder of the Ye family, Ye Hao, has been convicted of a crime and will be punished with confinement for half a year and deducted family resources for 3 months. It will be implemented from now on. Then with a wave of his hand, a message echoed in the ears of the family steward. When he received the news, he was so surprised that he dropped the pen in his hand. As for Ye Hao, who was involved, he did not expect Ye Jun to be so ruthless this time. For a moment, he was filled with anger, and he angrily threw his sleeves and left. Before leaving, he left a threatening message. Coupled with the various levels of alchemy furnaces in the family, there are countless medicinal herbs. Xiao Xian had nothing to do, so he wandered around the continent alone. The air is even more fragrant with the fragrance of elixirs. Ye Jun, sooner or later you will have to pay a heavy price for what happened today. It's no wonder that alchemists in Glacier Continent are so rare. Unexpectedly, it pushed him directly into the abyss. Even though Xiao Xian had been away from the valley for thousands of years, he was deeply attracted by the scene for a moment. Although it is not as good as the Xiao family, it is still considered a rare wealthy family. Only the Lu family has gradually declined over the years, and there are almost no geniuses among them who have an accomplished understanding of the battle method. It's no wonder that Xiao Xian showed surprise and confusion when he saw Glacier Continent jealously snatching an extremely inferior pill. They are the Chen family of Xianzong of the Qing dynasty, the Ye family of Danyao family, and the Lu family of the Formation family. Only 3 families moved out of the secret realm of the Northern Territory that year. This greatly widened the gap between the 3 major families, among which the Chen family was far ahead. The bustling market is bustling with activity, and the sounds of various snacks are endless. But the Ye family has a half-step golden immortal in charge, so the 2 are considered to be equally powerful. Therefore, he has no understanding of the little things in the heavens. In the courtyard, there are pavilions, small bridges, streams, and well-proportioned rock areas, which can be called elegant. And Xiao Xian himself has an extremely sensitive understanding of elixir refining. But in fact, the shortage of alchemists is not limited to the glacier continent, but is extremely rare in the entire heavens. There are also alchemy methods provided by the system, so the error rate is greatly reduced. Seeing this, his brows furrowed even more. The three forces were originally evenly matched, but the opportunities obtained each time they entered the secret realm were different. Instead, he became a fool and became the laughing stock of others, even inferior to the family power that emerged in the later period. Looking at Ye Hao, who left angrily, Ye Jun sighed heavily. At the same time, Xiao Xian was placed in a separate courtyard. He frowned and wanted to leave, but when he took a quick look, he saw a man refining elixirs. With his guidance and the dual blessing of the system's plug-in, the Xiao family produces more alchemists every month. With such a refining method, even a genius alchemist would be buried here. It is a little more than the total produced by outside alchemists every year. Then I found an old elixir shop. The shop was not big, but there was an endless stream of people coming and going. When it fell into Xiao Xian's nose, it smelled as bad as burnt Chinese medicine. Xiao Xian, on the other hand, didn't care about family affairs at all. He spent all day practicing in seclusion and fishing in the mountains behind. Xiao Xian could have such an idea only because of the system. I thought that turning a blind eye would allow him to think clearly. On the way here, Xiao Xian had already made some inquiries. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 338. Becoming an alchemist requires more than just excellent talent. You must also have a spiritual body, at least one of the fire attribute and the wood attribute. The fire attribute is used to control fire, and the wood attribute is used to catalyze. Both are indispensable. Whether it is the heavens, the vast world, or the current glacier continent. Human beings have only one attribute and it depends on their soul. There are even fewer spiritual bodies, and the Xiao family relies entirely on shortcuts through plug-ins. Xiao Xian has absolute knowledge of this, but he cannot deny his own strength. The system is just the finishing touch. The heat is too strong, the medicinal materials are put in for too short a time, and the time when adding firewood can't keep up, naturally the elixir cannot be made. Xiao Xian spoke lightly, and as his voice fell, a loud noise came from the elixir pharmacy. Then the choking black smoke dissipated, and the man inside stopped Xiao Xian. Looking at him angrily, "Who are you? You actually verbally stimulated me when I was refining the elixir, which caused the elixir refining to fail this time." The man's fierce look made Xiao Xian feel a little disgusted. The situation here naturally attracted the attention of everyone in the elixir shop. For a moment, everyone poked their heads out of the attic and looked at everything below. This young master Huang has been refining alchemy for more than 10 years, and today is the last day for her to refine the 9-turn soul-breaking pill. Although he is not a natural spirit, he is able to refine elixirs just by relying on his soul perception. It is already very powerful. And this elixir is the key to his participation in the Elixir Master competition. What a pity. Just when everyone felt sorry for the man, an old man in the attic shook his head repeatedly. No, no, still wrong. Why is it always so close? It's obviously already a great success, so why can't it become a pill? At this moment, a young man's voice reached his eardrums from downstairs. Fire, time, time. As a strange fragrance of the elixir wafted out, the old man danced and danced while holding the elixir. Why didn't I think of that? I should have thought of it earlier. Where are the people? Where have they gone? With a shout, the old man's figure appeared in front of everyone. The last time I saw him so crazy was when a 6th grade elixir failed. Looking at it like this, the cold man in front of him not only ruined Mr. Wang's good deeds. Even this 6th grade alchemist was influenced by him. This person is a famous 6th grade alchemist in Glacier Continent. Even if the second elder of the Ye family sees him, he must show courtesy. Countless clan forces even chose to befriend him in order to gain his guidance. Or get a 6th grade elixir, in this world where it's hard to find a single elixir for a lot of money. The 6th grade elixir is so precious. Except for one local family. That family is the Xiao family of Zushan Continent. Not only does the Xiao family have the best spiritual physique per capita. There are even more alchemists in the family, not to mention the 6th grade alchemist. Even the 8th grade alchemist has 10 people. Looking at the entire world, there are only 28th grade alchemists, and the Xiao family accounts for half of them. This shows how shocking the horror of drunkenness is. Thousands of years ago, a man from the Xiao family came to Glacier Continent, and his talent in alchemy was even more astonishing. And this is still the worst in the family. Their head of the family is the most mysterious and powerful being in the entire family. Coupled with the last battle with Tian, it made countless people worship the head of the Xiao family. And pharmacist Wang is also the direct disciple of that Xiao family disciple. Who said those words just now? As soon as these words came out, everyone already had the result in their minds. It's him, this person. If it weren't for his confusion, your elixir would definitely be successful. Physician Wang, you have to make your decision for me. If it weren't for him, I would definitely be able to refine the 9 turns of soul-severing pills. When the other party heard that everyone was pointing their fingers at the man in front of him who had no spiritual power at all, pharmacist Wang narrowed his eyes slightly, and a ray of light burst out from his eyes. Then he looked at him righteously. How did you judge? Xiao Xian replied indifferently, isn't this instinct? Why do you have to judge? Pharmacist Wang was horrified, and then he looked at Xiao Xian carefully. His appearance was extraordinary, his appearance was majestic, and he exuded the majestic aura of an emperor and general. But there is no trace of spiritual power. Could it be that he is the prince of some continent? Then with a thought in his mind, he walked quickly to Xiao Xian. Boy, let me ask you, what is needed to catalyze the elixir refined from the sky-climbing god leaf and silver wing gu branch? Xiao Xian said without hesitation, the sky-climbing divine leaf and silver wing gu branch do not need anything to catalyze them. They only need Jintao phantom milk. They can be refined into elixirs in 77 to 49 hours. Pharmacist Wang suddenly became enlightened and asked again and again, why didn't I think of it? The combination of sky-climbing divine leaf and silver wing gu branch is enough. The reason why it does not become a pill is because when the two are fused, metallic impurities will be produced. Just add Jintao emulsion to dilute it. It can also refine the purity of the elixir. Boy, where did you come from and who did you become a disciple of? Pharmacist Wang looked like he was about to devour Xiao Xian. No school, no sect, Xiao Xian had already retreated 10 meters as he spoke, but no one noticed. As soon as these words came out, pharmacist Wang's eyes showed deep horror. But deep down, he became more and more confused, and even doubted the authenticity of what Xiao Xian said. Boy, are you trying to hide your good master from others? I'm telling you, eating alone will cause diarrhea. Pharmacist Wang looked at Xiao Xian angrily, obviously feeling that Xiao Xian was unwilling to tell him. Isn't it enough to have the skills to make alchemy? Xiao Xian's words completely angered everyone present. What a big statement. The heavens are so big, but there are only a few alchemists. Since you are also an alchemist, why don't you claim your family name? You are not old, but your tone is not bad. How dare you do anything in front of pharmacist Wang? Even Yejun, the head of the Ye family, would not dare to exaggerate like this. This person really doesn't know how high the sky is and how high he is. Discussions continued for a while, almost overwhelmingly rebuking Xiao Xian. However, pharmacist Wang did not come to a conclusion and looked at Xiao Xian with an inquiring look. "Well, I'll give you a chance to prove yourself." Xiao Xian turned around and left. "Why should I prove myself? Just because the world doesn't approve of me? That's ridiculous." This time it was pharmacist Wang's turn to panic. He was already crazy about alchemy, and would even stay awake to refine the elixir. Now that he met someone who could help him answer his doubts, his heart felt like thousands of ants gnawing at him. So under the eyes of everyone in disbelief, pharmacist Wang hugged Xiao Xian. But Xiao Xian used his true energy to directly exclude him. As a result, a ragged old man slapped a young man crazily through the air. He looked very much like a crazy roadside beggar. This scene naturally left the onlookers stunned. This is a 6th grade alchemist, and there are only a few of them in the entire world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 339. Pharmacist Wang never expected that he would meet someone more difficult than Xiao Yuking here today. In addition to being full of flirtatious words, that guy also loves to look at beautiful women with unabashed eyes. There are no other shortcomings. After all, in his words, it is called appreciating beauty. Just like scenery, only beautiful things will be appreciated by people. Pharmacist Wang smashed it for a while before losing the strength and rolled his eyes. Then he asked inquiringly, "Could you be taught by the same master as Xiao Yuking?" Other than that, he really couldn't figure out how Xiao Xian learned this alchemy technique. When Xiao Xian heard this, he raised his eyebrows. Xiao Yuking had accepted a disciple when he was training outside the year before last, but he had no talent for cultivation and would not survive long. And because the family is preparing for a war, he left a token for the child, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Looking at it like this, the person in front of him is the disciple Xiao Yuking said, and because he learned the alchemy technique, he has extended his life. Since he is Xiao Yuking's apprentice, it doesn't hurt to give him some advice. Xiao Yuking and I know each other, Xiao Xian said without revealing his identity, but also let Wang Yaoshi get the answer he wanted. Hearing this, Medicine Master Wang jumped up and down. As expected, he is indeed a colleague of the master. Then, with countless people looking stunned, Xiao Xian was invited to the 3rd floor. Pharmacist Wang kept feeling emotional along the way. If it hadn't been for Master, I would have died long ago. How could I still be alive today? It was also Master who helped me to have a wood-attributed spirit body, and that's how I became what I am today. How is Master these years? I wonder if he still remembers me. If it hadn't been for the sudden accident in my master's family, I might have been able to continue studying with him. Xiao Xian felt a little uncomfortable for some reason as he listened to pharmacist Wang talking about an old man. Xiao Yuking was only 10,000 years old, so he was called an old man. Then wouldn't he become a spirit skull? Or rather, a walking skeleton? No matter how you think about it, it's not a taste. The lifespan of an ordinary human being is only 100 years, and there are not many people like Yaoshi Wang who rely on elixirs to extend their lives. But the premise of support is the spirit body, which means there is no spirit body. Even with countless life-sustaining pills, there is nothing he can do to save his life. I didn't expect that. Xiao Yuking seems to be reckless, but he is very considerate. He also knows how to find a spiritual body for others. Xiao Xian couldn't help but praise secretly in his heart. As soon as pharmacist Wang came up, he hurriedly took out all the difficult and complicated diseases he had accumulated over the years. A stack of books as tall as half Xiao Xian's body was placed in front of him. "Uncle Master, I am a villain, but I have encountered many problems over the years that I have been unable to solve by myself," so I classified them as difficult and complicated diseases. Today, Uncle Master is here, and I will use that number to resolve these difficult and complicated diseases one by one, so as to leave an idea for future generations. Xiaoxian. Are you treating him as a collection of wrong questions? Realizing that he was wrong, Medicine Master Wang smiled sadly and touched his head in embarrassment. I'm really too excited, but Master said, don't be afraid of the rotten wood being broken, just be afraid that the rotten wood cannot be carved. I'm also eager to learn, aren't I? As soon as these words came out, he actually saw a bit of Xiao Yuking's shadow. Xiao Xian subconsciously wanted to leave because the guy was too talkative. Being fat doesn't happen in a day, and learning doesn't happen in a day. Even if you accumulate countless wrong questions, it will take time to digest them. With a wave of Xiao Xian's hand, the books were returned to their original places again. Only then did pharmacist Wang realize his gaffe, but there was no apology on his face. Instead, he leaned forward with a playful smile, and the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes and brows almost fell off. Xiao Xian subconsciously blocked the teacup with his hand. Uncle Master, I have a question that has puzzled me for a long time and has never been solved. I can't find it even when I look through ancient books. I wonder if you can explain it to me. As pharmacist Wang said this, he took out his alchemy furnace and plunged into it. Various strange things were thrown out from inside, including a red belly band. The next moment, his figure bounced vigorously from inside. And he grabbed it back neatly with hands as dry as sticks. It was obviously not the first time he had done such a thing. This was specially left to me by the master. He said that the road to alchemy was too boring and he needed to add some color to his life. This red belly band was made after he fought with a tigress for 3 days and 3 nights. After completely conquering it, it is said that it is torn off from the opponent's body with the mouth. Therefore, this also became my magic weapon for enlightenment when I was confused. The corners of Xiao Xian's mouth couldn't help but twitch. Sure enough, no matter where he goes, this guy will never change his ways. After rummaging for a long time, pharmacist Wang finally found the elixir recipe he had treasured. This is an elixir recipe I got by chance when I was practicing abroad many years ago. However, I have been studying it for hundreds of years and have not been able to find out the mystery inside. Pharmacist Wang carefully placed the prescription in front of Xiao Xian, which showed how much he valued this prescription. Xiao Xian glanced at it roughly, and then said, "This is an incomplete pill recipe bag, and there are very few heavenly materials and earthly treasures in it. There are not many left in the world today. The heavenly materials and earthly treasures above are relatively common, and each one can refine elixirs independently. But it has no medicinal effect and can only be called a useless elixir. But when all the materials are added together to refine it, it will not be able to become a pill due to the lack of those few heavenly materials and earthly treasures. This is also the main reason why pharmacist Wang can never find out the mystery behind it." Hearing this, pharmacist Wang looked very shocked. Apparently he did not expect that this was an incomplete prescription. An incomplete elixir recipe. But every medicinal ingredient in it has the ingredients to refine the elixir. This is exactly the problem, Xiao Xian explained calmly. Ice eggs, Arhat Buddha water, and snow dew are all very common medicinal materials, but they need to be catalyzed by the devil and ice. The phaseless soul and the life-destroying dragon leaf are inseparable from the black mist claw, but these are not enough. Purple sun flame is the key medicinal ingredient for its elixir. Hearing this, pharmacist Wang nodded thoughtfully, "No wonder I can't find the reason. I have the formless soul and the life-destroying dragon leaf here." But Xiangyan, in the entire glacier continent, was only available to Qing Xianzong, and it was also the main source of Qing Xuanzong's rise. Xiao Xian blurted out directly, "When does a big family need to rely on such inferior flames to provide their spiritual energy? Aren't they all produced and used by themselves?" As soon as he said this, Wang Yaoshi looked at him in shock. There was a look of disbelief on his face. Just now he said that these medicinal materials could not be found anywhere in the world. Let's just say that purple sun flame is the worst flame. This is the key thing that can protect a Xianxian cultivator from the severe cold in the Northern Territory. Purple yang flame is the celestial flame that is about to disappear. Pharmacist Wang couldn't believe his ears. I know. It's just because he was too mean that he disappeared. It's not surprising. Xiao Xian's extremely calm face completely made Pharmacist Wang furious. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 340. That's easy to say, then find it out. What do I want from such a despicable flame? I won't do anything to embarrass myself. Xiao Xian really looked down on such unknown flames. In the Xiao family, Jushin Suanhua was used to light fires. Ghostly fire like that is a toy played by the children of the family. However, it is only limited to the proud children who are born with immortal roots. Pharmacist Wang almost fell to the ground. What is the origin of this guy? He doesn't have a trace of spiritual power in his body, but he can move objects through the air and shrink the ground into inches. Right now, he didn't even take Xianjian in his eyes. He was so angry that he directly used the provoking method. Then you should come up with a more powerful flame than this. Xiao Xian looked at him calmly. Yes, there is, but I'm afraid that a small shop like yours can't bear the power of the flames. Pharmacist Wang was so angry that Xiao Xian stomped his feet and pointed at the shop. My shop can withstand the flame power of 10 purple sun flames. I want to see what kind of flame it is. It's even more powerful than the purple sun flames. Then a huge flame force rushed into the sky, and even if it only took a breath, it would burn the entire elixir store to death instantly. It was so fast that the store structure didn't even react. Just when Pharmacist Wang was shocked, Xiao Xian said lightly, "The level is so bad, it's ridiculous." As soon as these words came out, Medicine Master Wang was in a state of confusion. Just this, it's called the flame that can't be handled. What is the background of the boy in front of him? From the looks of it, he is not an ordinary young man at all. Even Xiao Yuking is not 1,000th as good as him. Could it be that he is also an alchemist? Pharmacist Wang Xingxin began to examine Xiao Xian seriously. You can see the incompleteness of the elixir at a glance, and it can even produce a flame more terrifying than the purple sun flame. Could it be that he is the reincarnation of Master? Perhaps the Master back then was accidentally killed with a sword by his decisive family leader? But he quickly denied it. You must be the legendary treasure elf. It is said that the treasure elf contains all the treasures from the ancient times to the present day. Pharmacist Wang felt that he must have guessed correctly, and even raised his chin confidently. It seemed that he was waiting for Xiao Xian to say, "Ah, yes, yes, I am the treasure elf, and I can grant your 3 wishes." However, Xiao Xian seemed to be speechless and twitched the corners of his mouth. As expected, birds of a feather flock together. Even the chosen apprentice has such a clear and refined mind. Pharmacist Wang chuckled, and then looked at Xiao Xian seriously. You have such high attainments in alchemy, why don't you go to the Ye family to try the alchemist competition? Seeing that Xiao Suanbo was good at fighting, Medicine Master Wang knew that the other party was not interested. But he has more attractive conditions, and as long as he is a cultivator, his heart will definitely be moved. This year is the time when the secret realm of the Northern Territory is opened. There are countless treasures of heaven and earth, and it is even possible to encounter magic weapons. It is said that there are also time and space totems, but if you want to enter the secret realm of the Northern Territory, you need the approval of the 3 major families, otherwise even the Delugo Jinxian will not be able to enter. When he said this, he glanced at Xiao Xian quietly. When you see the other person thinking deeply, you know you have taken the bait. And this time in the alchemist competition, the alchemist who wins first place will not only become the alchemist of the alchemy house, but also. And you can also get the opportunity to enter the Northern Territory secret realm. Even if you are not interested in these, there is always something you are interested in the Northern Territory secret realm, right? Xiao Xian raised his eyes and looked at him without saying anything, but this identity would indeed make it easier for him to do many things, not just in the secret realm of the Northern Territory. Well, just sign up with me and I can give you a back door. After saying that, he didn't forget to give Xiao Xian a wink, but it looked like a moss-covered stone that would fall off when the wind blew. At this time, the Ye family also received the news and rushed to the scene to maintain order. When he saw pharmacist Wang and Xiao Xian standing in the ashes talking and laughing happily, Yeshu roughly guessed something. Physician Wang, what's going on? Yeshu stepped forward to ask, but his eyes were looking around. Oh, it accidentally exploded while refining the elixir. Pharmacist Wang glanced at Xiao Xian, and then said. Yeshu looked at his surroundings and saw that the entire frame had been burned. If the alchemy explodes, there will be a certain amount of explosives at the scene, and even the smell of herbs will be in the air. Rather than being filled with scorching hot air, it was obviously caused by magic such as flames. But Medicine Master Wang doesn't know this level of fire control at all, so there's only one possibility. Thinking like this, Yeshu looked towards Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian naturally noticed the look she cast, and he became more and more curious about this girl named Yeshu. What kind of judgment did she rely on to confirm the occurrence of the incident? I have to say that this is the smartest girl he has ever seen, bar none. Even Xiao Qingyun doesn't have her Kikiao exquisite heart. Pharmacist Wang introduced to Yeshu with a naive smile, this is the alchemist who came to sign up for the alchemist competition. Yeshu raised his eyebrows, a little surprised. With Xiao Xian's character, how could he participate in such a competition? Apart from the time and space totem, is there anything else he is interested in this world? I didn't expect you to be willing to participate in the alchemist competition. This is fine. Although Dad can solve it very well, it is more convincing than that. Before Xiao Xian spoke, Pharmacist Wang started talking eloquently. 1 month later, the preliminary round of the alchemist competition has officially begun. Yeshu and Yejun went to the Daimyo mansion early, waiting for the start of the Daimyo master competition. Sure, let Xiao Xian go to participate in the alchemy master apprenticeship later. If you lose, it doesn't matter. Dad has his own way. Yeshu held his arm and smiled sweetly. Dad, this elixir master competition is divided into 4 games, and each game is divided into competitions between trainees and prospective elixir masters. In addition to the applications for alchemy instructors, there are so many people coming to participate in the competition. Even if you want to arrange manpower to take care of them, he may not be able to get involved. Moreover, someone who can even solve Wang Yaoshi's confusion is really as needless as he seems. Yejun smiled heartily when he heard this. It's my fault, father, that I worry too much. At the same time as this alchemist competition, there is also the application for alchemist instructor. This is the Ye family's recruitment of all powerful alchemists in Zuzushan, with the purpose of cultivating talents for the Ye family. Only when young people are strong can the family be strong. Only when the young man's knowledge and power keep up can the family become more and more prosperous. Looking at the bustling competition scene in front of him, Xiao Xian glanced indifferently. Then he turned around and walked towards the entrance where the alchemist instructor applied. If it weren't for the identity of entering the secret realm of the Northern Territory, why would he condescend to this small place? However, as soon as he entered the door, he was stopped by the receptionist.